Okay, so James Gunn has broken his silence. I got a brand new DCU update for you guys today, and we're going to talk about what James Gunn said and what this means. So I'm going to share my screen immediately. We're going to get into this, and I'm going to take a deep dive into what I think this means and what we need to be aware of. And I am glad that he came out and made a statement because I think it was really important for him to do this. All right. So, James Gunn just posted a few minutes ago, and you can see it's getting a lot of likes and comments. And it says, so, as for the story yesterday in the Hollywood Reporter, some of it is true, some of it is half true, some of it is not true, and some of it we haven't decided yet whether it's true or not. We know we are not going to make every single person happy every step of the way, but we can promise everything we do is done in the service of the story and in the service of the DC characters we know you cherish and we have cherished our whole lives. As for more answers about the future of the DCU, I will sadly have to ask you to wait. We are giving these characters and stories the time and attention they deserve, and we ourselves still have a lot more questions to ask and answer. So here is what this means. That the Hollywood Reporter came out yesterday, and it's just a bullcrap story, that person thought was a possible road they could go down. And they admitted this in that Hollywood Reporter story, that was one possible way they could go. The one thing we do know is that Wonder Woman 3 is pretty much gone in its current form. It's going to change. And I'm going to talk about what I think is going to happen and what I think would make the studio a ton of money and would be the smart decision here. If Wonder Woman 3 got canceled, it's because it doesn't look like it fits into the overall story of what they're trying to accomplish. And a lot of people didn't like the last Wonder Woman movie. I actually really enjoyed it. I think as a standalone film, it's fine. Was it incredible? No, but I did not think it was a terrible film by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I think I gave it 4 stars where I gave the first one 5 stars. It is very much a standalone throwaway type of film. But I didn't think it was terrible, and that's where I stand on Wonder Woman. But we can't afford to have another Wonder Woman like that. Like, the next one has to stand out and has to be something special. And I have a feeling that movie was not going to be special. So James Gunn said that some of it was true, some of it was half true, some of it was not true at all. Here's what I think. I think that we are going to keep the same characters we know and love. Do I think that everybody's being erased from the movies? No. Do I think they're going to get rid of Cavill, Affleck, or Gadot? No, I don't. I think all 3 of those are going to be safe. And here's what I think is going to happen and what makes the most financial sense for a company where their stock is just tanking. Like, they have to do something to bring in people and to just restore that confidence. First, I think they're going to have to make an announcement about Cavill staying Superman and announcing a Man of Steel 2. I think that's the first logical stepping stone that needs to be done. And everything I'm mentioning is my own opinion. And I run a business. I was a salesman for 20 years for a company where numbers were big. We I remember the end of every quarter how we had to please those at the higher ups at the stock exchange. And I understand how the game is played. To make money, the one thing that has been missing from DC since day one is the Trinity. We've had one Man of Steel film in almost 9 years. We've had no standalone Batman film in the DCU, and we've had 2 Wonder Woman films. The first one was amazing. Zack Snyder was a big part of that. The second one was more mediocre. So what have they not capitalized on? The Trinity. The old regime was going to go off in a bunch of different directions. Okay, they were just headed in a direction nobody asked for, nobody wanted, and that's clear by some of the documents that have been released and what people have been talking about. What I think is going to bring them money is if they announced Man of Steel first and also announced a Trinity film. What I've noticed with everything coming out of DC lately and Warner Brothers Discovery is that things are a half-truth on what you hear on the internet. And I'm going to use the Comic-Con as an example. Supposedly not Ben Affleck, but Henry Cavill was going to be at the Comic-Con to announce his return as Superman. That didn't happen, And there were these reports that he had COVID, he couldn't make it, and everything was up in the air. What was really happening behind the scenes was that he had to leave The Witcher quietly, didn't tell him where he was going, said he needed to take like a week off or whatever. He had to go to this secret location to film scenes for Black Adam and also for the Flash film. This has all been confirmed by Henry Cavill himself. So that story was a half-truth. Now, we've heard Wonder Woman 3 was supposedly going to be a Trinity film with the three of them, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. How true is that? I don't think it's that true. And what I mean by that is I think there was a treatment for Wonder Woman 3 that was a Wonder Woman, central film. But what they're deciding now is, I think behind the scenes, Zaslav is, wouldn't it be great if we made another film with the Trinity in it? Maybe play off the name Wonder Woman 3? And the reports were that Wonder Woman 3 did not meet their current, standards. Well, what if they're going to change that now and they're going to announce a Trinity film? I think if they announced a Trinity film with the three of them, that's $1 billion plus film guaranteed. Now, granted, who you get to direct it. Apparently, Muschietti, who did The Flash, he's a pretty good director, and that film has been highly praised. And if that's the case, there's no reason why he can't helm a Trinity film. Now, Zack Snyder can't come back just yet. I do think there are people talking to him, even though they're not talking about it. So there is actually quite a bit going on behind the scenes. And James Gunn is exactly right. And I'm glad he broke his silence, because you can't keep the fandom waiting. And no, he's not going to be able to please everybody. But here's the reality. There is absolutely no reason to recast these characters. Even if you did a soft reboot, you could still use the same characters. I don't have the energy or the time to want to invest in new actors playing these characters. And I think the majority of people are in my boat. Now, I had a lot of comments on my video last night of people saying, I'm okay with a reboot. They just need to trash everything and start all over again. That is definitely not going to happen. Not when you have Aquaman that made over $1 billion. It was their biggest box office smash. Why would they get rid of Momoa as Aquaman if that's their number one moneymaker? Doesn't make financial sense. This is all about numbers. Their stock is tanking, and they need to do something to get it up. So apparently that story just had a lot of mistruths in it. And James Gunn and Peter Safran are the only two that kind of know what's happening with the plans. Supposedly there's a meeting next week with Zaslav. Remember, it's a 5-person committee. Abdi, you've got DeLuca, you've got Zaslav, you've got Gunn and Safran. All 5 of them have to agree before anything gets done. When Zaslav came in, he said Superman has been shoved in the corner and in the back room for too long. We need to bring him out. We need to make him front and center. So do I think Cavill is gone? No, I don't. I think it would be stupid to recast Ben Affleck as Batman as well. They need to stick with their Trinity. Their Trinity is $1 billion. Those 3 central characters have to be the backbone of DC. They have to be the backbone. If Peter Gunn, if James Gunn is true with his statement that he has a love for these characters and has had his whole life, then anybody who's a DC fan knows that Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are the backbone of the entire DC universe. If you start screwing with people and you start screwing with these IPs to the point where nobody wants to pay attention anymore, you're going to lose even more money. So they need to stick with their main characters and move forward from there. And I think that's what is going to happen. Now, let's talk about Jason Momoa. If he does get recast or they're not using him after Aquaman 2, then maybe he is going to be Lobo. Like, he did talk about something for Warner Brothers that was like his dream project. Maybe they may be putting someone else into the Aquaman role. We don't know, and he might be moving over to Lobo. Again, those are all just rumors that are flying around, and they do make sense. But you have to keep Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman and build your universe around those 3 characters. That is what has been missing from the DC universe. What do you guys think about his recent revelation and what he talked about on Twitter? I love how social media gives us access to these individuals so they can speak directly to us to kind of calm the waters. But this is a very pivotal moment. What they're deciding in the back room right now is going to determine whether this all succeeds or fails in the future. All right, I appreciate everybody tuning in. As more information comes out, I will be doing more videos on this. I do appreciate it. We will see you on the next video.